Alrighty people, what is going on? My name is Renegade Operative and I want to make a video on my first impressions of Resident Evil Reverse. Once again, this beta was only available to Resident Evil ambassadors. You're going to want to sign up and make an account and be a Resident Evil ambassador because you never know what type of opportunity will be right for you, and this was one of those things for me. I'm a gold ambassador. I managed to have a higher chance to get into the beta, and all you simply have to do is just retweet posts with the REBHFun hashtag on Twitter, and that's it. That's how you rank up. You can make your own posts and put a little spin on it and get points. Once you get points, you have a higher chance of getting into opportunities, and you're gonna want to try to be a Resident Evil ambassador in the very least. So because I was gold, I got more chances and I got a code for this beta. Thank you Capcom for providing me with this opportunity. Now you're gonna wonder, what is Resident Evil Reverse? It is a 6-player multiplayer venture, and you're mostly doing free-for-all deathmatch, and you're fighting each other, and then once you kill the normal human enemy as another human, you turn into a BOW. The BOW then has a second chance to kill any of the enemy players, or you could get revenge on the person who killed you. You're gonna want to try to get revenge as much as possible, or try to kill the lead player, because that is one way you get the most points in this multiplayer mode. If you've been living under a rock for the past 2 years or so, you will realize that the company who made this multiplayer expansion is the same company that made Resident Evil Resistance, and that wasn't really received too well. It was a asymmetrical 4v1 multiplayer experience, and it seems that Capcom is trying to bundle these multiplayers with big games, like they bundled Resident Evil Resistance with Resident Evil 3 Remake. They also are bundling Resident Evil Reverse with Resident Evil 8 Village. So it's some kind of tactic going on where it's like you got the big single player game, and then they're making this tacked on multiplayer on the side that people are complaining about, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, that is what Resident Evil Reverse is in a nutshell. Once again, 6 players going at it ham in a deathmatch style arena. Now we're gonna get to the meat of the game, the pros and the cons, what I thought of the game in general. There are positives and there are negatives, as everything is nuanced. The first thing I want to talk about is the bad stuff. So peer-to-peer, that stuff was not great in Resident Evil Resistance, and in Resident Evil Reverse is not really that great here. I'm talking absolutely insane visualizations with lag. I'm talking characters sliding all over the fucking floor like they're goddamn Squidward fixing for a hit of meth. It's really that bad. It's really that terrible when you see these lag spikes and you see this peer-to-peer garbage. I don't understand why Capcom will not opt out and go for a dedicated server for a multiplayer game. I don't fucking get it. I've never seen shit like this happen at RE5 Versus. It's happening frequently in Resistance and in Resident Evil Reverse. It's really bad with the peer-to-peer. Also, there's no host migration. That means that if the host drops, it migrates to someone else and the match continues on from there. If the host drops in this game, that means that the game is over. GG's, is done. It's a damn shame because that sort of hurts the player experience, and I think if they don't fix this in the long run, it's gonna lead to frustration. As someone who has played Resident Evil multiplayer extensively, I think the term we're really looking for is stability. Someone who has played Siege, Survivors, Team Slayers, we want stable connections, and there's no excuse for stuff like this where an enemy completely slides into me with their attack and I can do nothing about it. Speaking of not doing anything about particular attacks, I really don't like the stun locking in this game. It could be used to your advantage, and it could also be used to a massive disadvantage as well, because if you get knocked down just one singular time, that's it, you're dead. The only way to counter this is by using that indomitable spirit skill from Chris Redfield. And what if I don't want to use Chris Redfield and it's not 99.9% foolproof either? I think the best thing they could have done is maybe adjust the knockdown a little bit, maybe adjust how many times you get hit before you get stun locked, maybe twice, maybe from a big hit. A minor hit probably shouldn't do much as opposed to a big one. It just seems like you get stun locked all the time and I'm on the ground for like 5 seconds. I can't roll away, I can't run, I can't do anything. So there's no real defensive options outside of the one I just listed with Chris Redfield. And like I said, what if I don't want to play as Chris? Even Ada, she's trash, and I'll get into that later. She is complete utter doo-doo water, and her skill where she flips in the air is not 100% safe. I got smacked out of it by a tyrant, alright, and I was in midair and I could do nothing but just sit there and watch my explosive bolt go nowhere while I'm in midair. Tyrant takes a swing at air and somehow I get hit. A lot of stuff that happens with the hit detection sometimes can make no sense, and that's really not a great thing. That's something they really need to iron out. It also feels like Neobards just makes these games, these tacked on multiplayers, with the idea of not expanding it outside of the roadmap in terms of modes and features. What I mean is, when we go back to RE Resistance and we see how that game was made, it was just the one mode that we got with the package, which was the asymmetrical 4v1 experience where one mastermind takes on 4 survivors, and that was it. The roadmap that centered around that content itself centered on building new characters, new costumes, and new maps. Most people claim that Neobards is just going to do the free update just like they did for Resistance, and then Reverse is going to die off. If you're going to give us this free content, make it pertinent, make it stand out, make additional modes, make cool characters, and at least try your best to fix the problems that people present. We always take these surveys, we always give our opinion, but you're never really focusing on fixing stuff like the peer-to-peer, or at least offering a little bit more than just deathmatch. What about team deathmatch? Capture the objective, elimination, motherfucker, you have it all set up. Look at Uncharted 3, look at how many modes they offer to us with the team deathmatch style format. You're still killing motherfuckers, but at least you are doing other things in the process, and that's what I think games like this need. Neobards, you need to add more content to the table instead of just doing one free roadmap and that's it, you're done. Address the concerns that people want so your multiplayer can survive. Alright, now I'm done with that. Let's move on to the positive. People are going to be asking, Renegade, is this game better than Resident Evil Resistance? I wasn't interested in the 4v1 asymmetrical. What about this one? I would say this is slightly better, but there is problems that I mentioned beforehand that need to be ironed out. Just solely mentioning the positives alone, however, I would say simplicity is key. You're getting classic deathmatch, and that's good. Picking up the controller, everything is absolutely fine. Everything is absolutely easy to pick up and play, and that's a good thing. Once again, you don't have to worry about massive matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking, or worrying about being paired up against a level 284 mastermind. You don't have to worry about any of that shit. You could just pick up a gun, shoot someone in the face, and have a good time. It's like good popcorn fun in the cinemas. What you see is what you get, and what you get is pretty good. I will say also the matchmaking felt better than Resident Evil Resistance in terms of that beta, because I always got into matches, I always played with people. Well, I would actually say, I want to correct myself there. I always played with people in the last lobby, but still I found matches nonetheless. That was still a great thing no matter what. And I would say things get really chaotic. Sometimes you see like 4 or 5 Jack Bakers or 4 or 5 Mr. X variants beating the ever-living shit out of each other in a corner. It's absolutely insane. The time to kill is high. That means that you could die like super fast. Still, it's not frustrating. I would say it's a wonderful experience once you finally get your hands on it and wrap your head around the mechanics of the game. And that's really the crux of a good multiplayer, is something that is initially fun as soon as you pick it up, not absolutely frustrating. I gotta get to a prestige rank 400 to get good. I could just simply use my loadout, what I got, use my skills, what I got, unless you're Ada, and be good with it, be efficient. Now I'm gonna get into, hold on, I think all the positives are out of the way. So now I'm gonna get into the tiers and the stats. The stats are pretty useless. Do not pay attention to them. They are 100% useless as fuck. Don't look at them for anything. One thing I will say that I did notice, however, is that sometimes Chris would morph into Jack Baker, even though I didn't pick up a virus vial. The virus vials are used to simply transform your character into a stronger BOW outside of the fat molded, because the fat molded sucks in this game. Now we have the character tiers. First and foremost, I'm gonna say that Chris Redfield is broken. He's the best character in the game. He's the imposter. His imposter face that looks nothing like Chris Redfield from the previous games they had with RE5 and RE6 looks nothing like him in RE7 at all, but I digress. Anyway, the imposter is the best character in the game because his assault rifle does crazy damage, and he has that skill where it's like he buffs up, indomitable spirit, he buffs up, and then what happens is you can't hit him for a short amount of time. And then there are moments where he has like a passive skill that can do more damage to BOWs if he has low HP. So that means you can body tyrants with Chris Redfield easy, and he has like a super punch as well. Chris is a great character. Jill, she's also good. You can lay down mines. You have the hot dogger, which can slice enemies with a burning stab, sometimes kill them with it with ease. I really like her character as well. I forgot she has like the pistol, and I think she has another gun, but I fucking forget. Once again, off the cuff, off my head. Jill's still good regardless. Then there's the next character on the tier list, which is Claire. Claire's great too because she has this electric grenade. She can throw it and stun enemies, and then immediately you can pull out the revolver and go to work. That is not only spectacular, but she's also one of the few characters that has an instant healing item on them in the form of the adrenaline shot. So Claire, Jill, and Chris are pretty good in this game looking at my stat sheet. Everyone else is just either mid or garbage. Like Hunch and Leon, you know, they're good characters in their own right, but they aren't better than the characters I just named. I guess the main thing you need to know about Hunch here is his assassination technique. That's mostly what you're going to be using when you sneak up on enemies. He has a blue active camo. It's not 100% foolproof. People can still see you if you're running towards them. However, if you get behind them and use the assassination technique, which is basically akin to Altair pulling out the hidden blade from Assassin's Creed, then you'll get a damage buff along with the technique killing someone in one hit. Without the camo, is not foolproof guaranteed that you're going to get that kill, so that means that you're kind of limited without the camo on in terms of raw damage. Once you assassinate someone with active camo, then you get an extension of active camo, and you could possibly get 2 extra kills with it on. That's really good. However, the animation takes like forever. Compared to Leon's spin kick and Chris Redfield's punch, it's not really that fast in terms of animations. If you use it, try to use it wisely. That's why Hunch is not superior on the totem pole when it comes to like his skills, his perks, etc. It's like you really have to get lucky with that stuff involved. And the other 3 characters I listed, like Chris, Jill, and Claire, they're just more superior because loadouts, or they have better gadgets or better skills to use. That being said, I guess you can make Hunk's loadout work, just his skill set is honestly not that preferable to me in terms of the others. Then Leon's, like, his shotgun is decent. It's very decent, but his skills are not as superior as Chris Redfield's. I do like the kick, and I do like the fact that he can go around with dual guns, 2 guns blazing. Thoroughly reminds me of Resident Evil 6, very much with that, and you can just kill people from there. They take away the sight, and you just got laser sight, so you can use that and just blow people the fuck away, and I really enjoyed that. Ada is the worst character in the goddamn game. She's awful, terrible, because that crossbow is a one-shot, so she has to shoot it once and then reload it. It's not like a one-shot kill, if that's what you're thinking, but I really think it should be a one-shot kill if you're going through all this work to get 2 shots on an enemy with a weak gun that has some fucking sucky reloading and sucky recoil, you know. I also think that her skills aren't that great. She has one where she can knock people on their ass with a somersault kick, but again, you know, I guess I'm 50-50 because it's like there's some skills that you could use in this game, like Chris's punch. Sometimes that could be a guaranteed kill, as opposed to you gotta knock someone down, then pull out your pistol, shoot them in the head, you know, all that shit. That's what you'll be doing with her 90% of the time, and I'm like, oh my god, just buff this character, please. No matter what you do, buff her, do something with her. She sucks now. And then she has another move where she does a somersault in the air, and she throws an explosive bolt, and that kills some stuff in the area. Sometimes it's efficient, other times it's really not, and there's times where I got knocked out of the air. I think I mentioned that earlier. I got knocked out of the air while doing it. It's not 100% safe like the Chris passive skill, where it's like you get low health, you do more damage to BOWs, or you simply put on the Indomitable Spirit. And at that point, you're just the freaking Terminator, dude. Like, Ada has nothing. Buffer, please. Buffer, god damn, dude. I want to mention one thing really quickly, and I want to talk about the BOW tiers. They can be easily stun locked, so don't get too comfortable playing as Nemesis. Either way, Mr. X stomps. He does this claw into the ground finisher that he does from Remake 2, and he can instantly kill opponents. Mostly if that tracks, it's a guaranteed kill. Sometimes it will not kill, and it will knock the enemy down, but you can still like claw swipe while they're on the ground. Next up is Nemesis. Now, I got a lot of kills with this missile launcher. It's very good. Just peg someone in the back of the head, you're good to go. Sometimes BOWs might take a little bit longer to kill. He also has this tentacle animation where he puts his tentacles in the ground, and if that's like close to someone that's low health, sometimes he'll grab them and do a finisher. Nemesis and Mr. X is really good when you get those variants. Then we have Jack Baker. He's okay. He uses the chainsaw blades that he had from Resident Evil 7, and he could do like a spinning circular motion. I use that to attack people that's running away from Jack Baker. Welcome to the family is not honestly that great. It's cool to see. It's cool to see as a move that you could just put your goddamn chainsaw on the ground, wind their chin up, punch him in the face. Welcome to the family, son. It's done. That's a one-hit kill if you're close to someone. However, you don't want to be spamming it because likely the range is so short that it's not going to connect to anything. And sometimes I punch people in the back of the head that had healing traits like Claire or Leon, and it did jack shit. Especially Claire, Leon, Chris. You're gonna want to make sure they're on the ground at least, or make sure you're in the clear before doing Into the Family. It's a risky move. However, Jack Baker's, you know, alright. Just be sure to use that R1 skill where he does the chainsaw circular motion and he catches up to the enemy, and it's very good. It's very good to use that. Then I think we have the Hunter Gamma. I mean, again, this is an enemy that's once again okay, not better than the Tyrants, definitely not better than Jack Baker, but you can spit on people with acid, and also once again the swallow move is not always guaranteed. You have to be really close or make sure they're stun locked on the ground before you get that insta kill. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Fat Molded, the worst enemy in the game. Granted, you can get kills with it with the claw swipes, but it's just so damn slow. It's like a slow farty, so freaking slow, dude. I can't stand playing as the Fat Molded. I wish there was a faster enemy. Hell, I'd even take being a zombie from Agent Hunt over this motherfucker. Like, God, why is he so slow? I guess the main thing you want to do is troll if you have an enemy at low health so you can blow yourself up. Honestly, that's the best solution I could give you. If that person that just killed you, if you can get a revenge by blowing them up, that might be the best alternative, as well as using the claw swipes, because I had situations where the claw swipes did indeed stun nemesis or stun other enemies. It's just so slow, and honestly, that's the worst BOW to use. Anyway, we're moving on. I'm doing this live, by the way. Holy shit. We're moving on to the next thing here, and that's like, who would I recommend this game to if we were to play it? If you get like Resident Evil 8, would you recommend playing this for friends or something like that? Would you even try it, etc.? Is there any additional worry, and who is this game for? It's a pretty loaded question. It is a pretty loaded question here, but I would say, who is this game for? It's definitely for people who love quick and easy multiplayer experiences. It's like, if you're just looking to eat a quick hot dog, for example, then you would definitely pick this game up and play it. This is not for people who want the Resident Evil experience where it's like, I just want single player content, I want a story, I want a plot, I want a single player driven narrative, or I want a co-op driven narrative with me and my buddies. You're not gonna get that with this multiplayer offering, and I guess that's why most people don't really like the stuff that Neobards does, because they mostly want single player content or story driven content. I get the sentiment. Capcom has also tried multiplayer in the past, so it's nothing new. It's nothing that's going to make you blown away. It's still there though, and what's there is still pretty enjoyable, I would say. I also got a tip from someone in my Discord, Sotilius, and he said that Resident Evil Reverse will probably have no anti-cheat. Apparently, according to the PC community, Resident Evil Resistance did not have anti-cheat, which meant that hackers roam free. They completely fuck things up with the servers. They probably have like level 2099 masterminds. If you're interested in Reverse in the slightest, please get a copy. Double dip if you have to. Get a copy on consoles and play it there, because I 100% guarantee if this problem still is occurring for Resistance, then they're not going to implement anti-cheat for Resident Evil Reverse. I have a feeling it's coming. If they really don't care about the competitive scene and they just want to do quick peer-to-peer and not implement anti-cheat, then Reverse is probably going to be a mess on PC. I just don't get this, because you would figure if you have a competitive game, you would try to isolate hackers at all costs. This is Capcom's fault. If you're filling out surveys, please put that information as a PC player, especially if you played Resistance on PC and you saw the lack of anti-cheat all over the place. Let Capcom know that shit. If I were to rate this multiplayer, I would give it a 3 out of 5. It's average, it has potential, but it needs work, it needs addressing, it needs fine-tuning. And then I guess we're going to talk about the future of Capcom and multiplayer and the reaction to this game. Now, it's mostly been negative, but I have played it. That's something that I want to do. I want to wait until I actually play these games and not live vicariously through other YouTubers by their opinions on the internet. I want to have my own opinion on it before I actually say anything. And I tried it, and it wasn't that bad. I was stomping, I was beasting all day long, #1 for the most part, and it was pretty, like I said, decent. It's a decent multiplayer experience. It doesn't do anything new or innovative or ambitious. It's still something that has potential, and I hope Capcom sees that potential. I don't know if they're ever going to take these releases out of the packages, because that is pretty suspect. Like, why are you bundling these tacked on multiplayers with these big single player releases like RE Village, or you're doing it with like Resident Evil 3 Remake, and it has nothing to do with the game itself. It's not like a vertical slice of those games. In particular, it's just RE2 multiplayer with Resistance just tacked on as an asymmetrical experience with the Mastermind and all that shit put into Resident Evil 3 Remake. And then with Reverse, it's like, okay, RE8 is like first person, and then you have this third person comic filter game that you're playing as multiplayer. So it's not even a vertical slice of the actual single player just converted into multiplayer. These are two different things entirely, and I think they're gonna keep doing this, because I think in the back of Capcom's mind, they know that Neobards games, they will not sell at all without some type of leg up. I just hope that this doesn't mean the single player story is going to diminish in quality. I always think that no matter what, tacked on multiplayers, they need to stand on their own and still be fun, while also not doing anything to compromise the story or the content, because a lot of people had that opinion with Resident Evil 3 Remake. Like, why isn't the game getting single player updates as opposed to Resistance that got a roadmap? Hopefully they figure this all out. That's just my opinion, just giving an observation on everything I've seen so far. And hopefully in the future, like, maybe the multiplayer will have potential, maybe it will get better, but I do believe maybe it's time to explore other options like Mercenaries, instead of constantly removing it time and time again. Give the people a little bit of what they want. I know their expectations can be a little bit weird, because in my opinion, I am not expecting anything pertaining to Outbreak to be done in a relatively short amount of time. That is unrealistic. That is stupid. Please stop. Do not expect anything. Stop getting your hopes up. When they deliver, when they listen, good, be happy. Until then, I expect nothing. It's the same for Silent Hill rumors. I expect nothing. I want it if they give it to me, and if it's good, that's fine, but until then, I'm not gonna be overhyped or say, oh, this needs to be made and blah 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 and all this shit and rant to the sun. It's like, look, if they make Outbreak, cool. If they don't make Outbreak, then I'm still gonna enjoy their games and play their games, and I'm not gonna be tiffed over it, because once again, I wouldn't be expecting it in the first place. And if I want to play Outbreak, I can go and play Outbreak now on the emulated server, no problem. Like, that's how I feel about it. Should they do it? Yes, but am I gonna pester and bother and bitch and moan and cry and kick just because I expected something to show at an event and it doesn't show up to my liking? Probably not gonna do that, because I've grown beyond that. Anyway, that is my first impressions on Resident Evil Reverse. I know I went on some tangents, but overall, I think that added to the discussion, the flavor of the discussion, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Tell me what you thought about the video. Will you consider playing Resident Evil Reverse if they do a public beta? Sign off in the comments, let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Later. Once again, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff if I didn't say it already. I might be repeating myself, but let me say it for the people in the back. Once again, this is how you support me, because YouTube's algorithm sucks massive donkey cock, and I need all the help I can get. So once again, please help me out. Do that. That's my sign out's done. I want to talk to you guys in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. For real. Later.